to everybody from Romania, from your favorite artist electronist, Mr. Q12. Alright, here we go. This is a bit of an advanced topic. I actually spent one day. I'm actually proud that I spent such little time on discovering a very big deal, actually. And I will most probably, I will show you the development in the future. But until then, I will show you the setup that I worked to figure it out partially by myself, but also I was helped by other people, and on Arduino forums, here I have it, and we have a very pretty long page with discussion about the problems that I had. But I will not bother you with the problems that I had. I will show you only the results, the good results that I got. So this is only the setup, how to set up this thing to work, and what it does, and what can you do after that. All right. So for the moment, I have a program. Let me show you first. So this is the title of this video. Read the Arduino inputs from COM5 from C#, pretty much. And I made a little folder here in my ADC. You see here, ADC0808. ADC, it means analog to digital converter. And I made this folder because I used the code in Arduino, at least. Here, this is the code in Arduino. Use it. This is here, the test, and I have a lot of backups that I made. Now, I use this as a test code, pretty much, and it worked absolutely perfectly. And I want to show you my my solutions that I got. What I was after, and I successfully managed to accomplish, was to read. You see, when I'm opening this serial monitor from here, serial monitor, you see, I'm getting all these readings, plus a little mark that I have there, those 3 lines, and in the code here is here, those 3 lines are mentioned here, and all these numbers that you see here are where are you? I believe this is the code that is dealing with that those is incrementing the address and is doing this forever and ever. Okay, so probably that's the binary read, the line. But doesn't matter what it's doing. I actually have a very good this page that I made by myself in Photoshop. And let me actually stop this because I don't like it running. And by stopping it, you only have to close it, and that's it. It is stopped. And you don't have to close the entire thing, the entire program. You only have to close that serial monitor, and that's it. So now let me do it like this, a little bit zoom in. So reading Arduino input from C#. That's all about it. So you see here. Let me actually do it like this. So this is the segment here. So what we have, you have to put some sort of input, either is manual or automatic, in form of buttons or a light dependent resistor LDR into the pins of the in-out pins of the Arduino Uno board that I have. If you have something else, well, use that. Depends how many pins you have in-out pins. Don't look here because I didn't really read this image and I put it, like that. But you have to read which is the in-out digital pins that you have to receive data from an input. So we are not sending data; we are receiving data pretty much into the Arduino board. We are receiving data from an external source, either is automatic, like an LDR that is reading all the time some fluctuation of light, and it will be converted here into your board somehow, doesn't matter how. You connect this to your USB hub or directly to your computer, that doesn't matter, on the USB cable on my PC here, and that's it. This is the hardware stuff that I have already made. It's very simplistic right now what I have here, but it's telling the story very clearly, so that's all about that. Now we are looking here in this side of the screen, so like that, and make exception of that. Okay, so let's see, make a test code in Arduino software to read the input from Arduino board. So this is the Arduino board. That's the input that is coming from there in this direction, like these arrows, like that. And make a test code. Doesn't matter how you are making the code. The idea is to read something from the inputs. Okay, and open your Arduino serial monitor, like I showed you. And when you open this serial monitor, must show you some results, some sort of result. Doesn't matter if it's showing what I'm having here or your stuff that you have there. These results that we see here on this is the serial monitor. Let me use this other tool. So this is the serial monitor here. Is a little bit of it showed here in the image, but you get the idea. And so this is the serial monitor here, right here. Okay. And these results that we see here, all these numbers, we will compare them with the results that we will read from C# later. So that's why it's good to have a point of comparison. It should work perfectly here in Arduino. So this is it must work perfectly here in Arduino. So a check mark like that. It must be working perfectly here. You must get some results in this serial monitor here, and then in C# you will have a way of comparing what is working here with what you get in C#, and it should be the same thing. That's the entire idea. Usually everything is working on COM5 at 9600 baud rate in Arduino. This is after a lot of discussions with some people from Arduino forums, this is the conclusion that we get. That is very easy to to work with, pretty much. COM5 at 9600 baud rate. The same must be specified in C# as well. When you will make the code, you see this part here, COM5. So it's the same thing. It must be in the same line, in the same sort. Okay, and now just simply use the code provided. A dude, a guy, a very smart guy. This is not my code. I didn't build this code. That guy from Arduino forums, he find it for me, and because they know their stuff better than me, And I use exactly this code that you are seeing here is exactly this thing, and you'll see it in my C# environment, in my Microsoft Visual Studio, and you'll see it there in a moment as well. So now simply use this code that I am showing you here into a new C# console application program. It's very important to be console application because this is made in that direction as a console application, but you can modify it, and I will modify it to be a Windows application and not console application. Windows application means that I can insert buttons, labels, text fields, etc., etc. Exactly like a normal, And this is the output. So this is the output here. This is the console. The actual console that is showing me the exact same result as in serial monitor in Arduino. One very important thing is Arduino Uno is having a USB to serial converter. Somewhere is either one chip by itself or is inside the microprocessor that is having here, microcontroller, some functionality that is converting the USB here and is communicating with computer, and your computer is receiving the data as serial. Theoretically, I could have do it without Arduino Uno, but I have to make that conversion with some other hardware, only that specific hardware, USB to serial converter, only that single hardware. But I don't have it, and it's a little bit, scratching over the ears, and I still have to connect all those lines, all those inputs. So it's a bit more difficult with the parts. With the single parts by themselves. So Arduino Uno is convenient, is having all this functionality, the inputs, the conversion from a USB to serial for your computer to read the serial. And what I discovered with this little project here, I discovered that the Arduino serial monitor is using the serial communication that is coming from the Arduino board and is using it by itself, not using some special software requirements. And this is the case for the C# here. The C# program is reading directly that serial communication that the USB to serial conversion is transmitting, directly from the board. So the board is creating that conversion into serial and is pumping data into the serial port, and the C# is directly reading that serial input that is coming to that port. You only have to know which port is coming and at what frequency, at 9600 in this case. Another very important point is that when I said here, usually everything is working on COM5 at 9600 baud rate in Arduino, and the same must be specified in C#. To link them in parallel, the first line is for testing only, and this is actually to compare with the test and to actually make it work, to be certain that you use the same thing and to make it work. But when I said this COM5 at this baud rate number that I have here is not actually super true, because in some computers it will work at different address, serial address, COM1, COM3, COM8, whatever they have there, and at different baud rate, even maybe 12,000 or something. I don't know them by heart, but it might be different. And what I'm saying here is what it worked for me, and you should use it as a reference for you, but not use it by itself like a rule. This is not a rule. This is just a test that I did, and it worked on my computer with the settings that I have, with the Windows that I have, operating system that I have, and also this board. I'm not sure how is chosen this COM5 by the board itself, by the Arduino board itself is chosen. You can choose it from Arduino settings from there. I'm not completely sure how to actually set this address communication or common serial line, but to have a specific one, I don't know how to do it yet. I didn't get into that kind of details, but that's the point that I want to make, that you should test your communication line, your COM serial port number. You should test it and find it until it's working here in Arduino, of course. Find also the baud rate, which is convenient and is working perfectly in your serial monitor that you have there, and you have the correct data transmitted. And then after you made all this test here with Arduino environment, then you test it in C#, respecting the same values that you already find and tested, and it should work with C# directly reading this serial port, that both of them actually, so Arduino is listening that serial port, that specific serial port is listening to it and interpreting it into its serial monitor, and C# is doing exactly the same thing, is listening to that serial port at that address directly, without anything in between, without anything, any software or hardware to have it in between. So it's direct listening to that port, and of course also at that specific frequency, and is working just like that, and it's that simple. That's all the points that I wanted to add I actually made the previous movie, and I remember these very, very important things I totally forget to mention. So I had to re-download my movies from YouTube, re-edit them, insert this little fragment there, and re-link the movie again, and re-upload them again. So it was a bit of a hiccup, but it's good that I made it. All right. So pretty much this is it. This is it with this page, this presentation. I hope you get it, and let me get out of it. So this is one picture, and here this is the so this was a part of the discussion, 9600 baud rate here in Arduino on COM5, and this is the data that I received from a serial monitor that I'm having there, and actually, one second, and this is the text. Well, a little bit of context. That's it. And let's see what I have here. It's exactly what I write here is exactly what is this image about, which is very, very straightforward. That's it. Is that simple? You can pause the video. You can read all of this if you want. So now let me close. Let me open this window. This Microsoft Visual Studio. I'm using older version because I'm using Windows 7 even today, because it's the best Windows after Windows XP. Windows 10, Windows 11, I don't like them at all. Sorry, aficionados who likes those bastards of Windows, those retarded Windows, but I don't like them at all. And but I like my Windows 7, and the version of Microsoft Visual Studio that I have is 2010. It's very, very cool, very easy, very, very nice to work with. I have only good things to say about it. The bad things is that if we are looking here, I'm using .NET framework 4, and that's it. That's the maximum framework that is working at the moment. And I know right now there are other frameworks that are even higher, and with different syntax and different way of writing code, unfortunately. That's very, very unfortunate. But yeah, well, I will have to adapt to the new way of coding in other stuff. But for the moment, I'm using this old way of coding, which is simpler, and most probably you can adapt it to the newer frameworks, syntax, and whatever you have there. So this is the actual code that is working. Let me play it. And right now, as you can see, it's starting reading the exact same thing as in Arduino with this simple code that I have here. I had quite some very nasty bugs. The code that I had originally didn't work at all. Then it worked, but with a lot of bugs, with a lot of errors, and I cleaned them up, and I figured out what was going wrong. First of all, it was this COM5 and 9600 that I repeated a number of times. This was the point of not working. Because of this, if I have this correctly specified, is working. If it's not correctly specified, it will not work at all. So this I compare the Arduino test that I did here, and I figured out what COM5 is working. So you can check this on tools and port. You see here is set on COM5 by default, most probably. And the baud rate, I don't know where I find that. It is already mentioned here from other scripts, from other codes. And yeah, I looked here in the code, and I said, if this is working with 9600, it should work here in my C#, and I was right. So because of this single line, I could make it work, this code. But I got some errors. I have quite a long page of discussions until we figure it out. They hint me, maybe it's that, maybe it's the other thing, maybe it's the other thing. But in the end, I figured it out by myself, but with their help. And they deserve a lot of praising, because they did really help. If not directly, but indirectly they helped me. Without them, I couldn't resolve these problems. So it was in the beginning. Let me actually look what was. So until the original code that I had was using port.readx existing. So this little bastard line of code was always there in the code, and I couldn't really figure it out if it's good or bad. And I searched. So this was the one that I was using in the original code. And the next one, when I see the read line, it didn't read the end, so the new line pretty much. It was reading what he was catching on the bus. If it was 00, it was reading that 00, or 0010, and it was reading that. And sometimes actually I have the picture with the problem. That here it is. So this is it. So you see, sometimes was reading it, sometimes it was not reading it correctly. It was sometimes was reading it correctly, but most of the time it was skipping and giving me some very nasty errors. And also here as well, very slow. If I was using start with a different, I was trying to string manipulate the problem, inserting myself a new line on if it's encountering the new line to do to show the results pretty much. And other problems arise from that. So here it is. I've tried already everything I know. There are three most used booleans methods: dot start with, dot ends with, and dot contains. So all these three, I test them, all of them, and I got more problems from them. So this is how I implement. And all of these three most used methods are returning some sort of different error than originally I had that previous error. And there were different errors. This was not showing anything, and this was showing the contains, was showing whatever he catched. You see here, read existing is still there, and that was the original. And after looking a bit more closer, and thinking a little bit more about the code, yeah, I find out it was that little bastard there, read the existing, and when I changed it with read line, it worked perfectly. So that's it. So look closer in your code because it might be correct, but correct from other guys' point of view, but not specifically for you. And you can bend it to your cause and to your will. That's all I'm saying, and it's possible. This is all that I'm telling in all my videos. It is possible. Doesn't matter how much you have to try it. You try it until you die, but don't give up and continue because it is possible. That's all that I'm trying to transmit to you. So this is the setup. So this is the setup on my table there. I have my lathe there, and that is the window, and I have another project there that is waiting. But this is the setup that I made. That is the ADC somewhere. There is a big chip. That is the Arduino board. This wood box that is having on off there written there is the power source with 5 volts that is coming into this board, into this breadboard. And the Arduino is powered through this wire here. It's powered from the USB here, this USB hub that I'm having here, and the negative. The black wire negative rail are common from this power source, and the Arduino or computer USB negative rail are common between these two things. And pretty much that's it. The other stuff that I'm having there, the LEDs, doesn't matter. And I have a bunch of LDRs. You can barely see them. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, you see them? They're like flowers. You see them? Those are the LDRs, and I have, I believe, 8 of them. And that's why you see that long string, long byte of 000111. There are 8 of them, and I'm reading them, all of them at once, pretty much. Yeah, that's it. All right, I hope you like it, and pretty much this is it. This is the end result. I can read the serial data that I'm receiving from Arduino inside C# monitor. So Arduino, if I'm closing it, is still working this as it should. Let's see. I didn't test this. Let's see if I'm closing that. If it will throw me some errors. No, everything is fine. It's reading it fine. So it's not dependent on the Arduino program. You don't have to have it open. You only have to program the Arduino board to transmit something, to read something, and you monitor that input that the Arduino board is receiving. You monitor it directly into C#. From this stage, like I said already, from this console application mode that I'm having right now, I will convert all this code into a Windows application with buttons, with labels, pretty much like a normal program is made usually. You know, a console application is very good for testing and for experimenting, but for usage, Windows application is desirable. All right, thank you very much for watching. I hope you like it, and I hope you learned something with me, and I wish you a good day. Thank you very much for watching my Mr. Q12 videos.